This world is dying. I've done a ton of research on this and discovered you.
You know this is crazy, right?
Focus Features presents Begonia.
You're in an echo chamber.
I know what you are.
Alien filth.
This fall,
We have 4 days to save Earth.
when the clock runs out,
If you let me go, I have information you need.
the truth will be revealed.
You're not in control anymore. We are.
Begonia. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. Now playing in select theaters. In theaters everywhere, October 31st.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
Welcome back to Connect with Jonathan Mark. Over this entire podcast, I always enjoy helping families in law enforcement. But what I also really enjoy doing too, actually, is going through these very complex cases, whether it's myself or with other people. And I really enjoy doing it with Kate Casey. And this week, Kate Casey is joining us on this show to talk about two pretty interesting and very complex cases. One takes place in Oklahoma and one takes place in Australia. Now, the first one is Julie Mitchell of Oklahoma City, and the second is Sarah Ellen Spiers in Western Australia. These were highly recommended to Kate for her and I to cover, and we're going to go through everything. What I see, the entire case, everything. So let's welcome Kate and let's jump right into this.
On November 2nd, 2010, Julie Mitchell, 34, mother of 4, was found beaten to death in a closet in her Northwest Oklahoma City home. Her 13-month-old daughter was unharmed nearby. Roughly $30,000 was reported missing from a closet safe. She had been married to Teddy Dryden Mitchell, who was later sentenced in 2014 to 27 months in federal prison for running an illegal sports gambling operation, which was an unrelated conviction. But enough, of course, people are kind of like, what's the deal with the husband? So this is a case that's just sort of confounded people. Obviously, a mother of 4, savagely beaten to death and found in a closet in her home. And the unfortunate fact that this little baby, 13-month-old little girl, was unharmed nearby. So what do you make of this case?
I think that's absolutely horrific. It's sad to say, but I feel like I've been so desensitized towards a lot of the stuff now because I'm doing, I do so many cases, but It is quite horrible. And what I've noticed with a lot of cases, that if there's a baby around, they never really harm the baby, they harm the person.
It's
so
weird.
That means that it was a targeted death.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this person was going in and they were robbing someone and it went sideways and they're like, we need to kill everyone, then they would kill everyone sometimes.
Well, but a 13-month-old is not going to say details.
Exactly. But most of the time with those 13-month babies or even younger, older, whatever, they die on their own, unfortunately, because the person doesn't get reported missing for days, so they don't eat for days. And
oh, God.
So you have these twofold things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it's so tragic when a baby's involved, no matter the capacity of it. It's horrible.
Yeah, I remember I covered a case, Jeffrey McDonald, which was super famous. Wilderness of Error is a book that it was based on. He was a Green Beret in North Carolina. And when there were calls were made to the home, because I guess he got home and his wife, who was pregnant, was on the floor, dead, stabbed to death. And there was writing on the wall in blood that said something like pigs, if I'm remembering correctly. But there were 2 little girls in their cribs in nearby bedrooms. And so I remember I was going to, so there's like a docuseries about it. I think you can watch it on Hulu. And I interviewed the person that was the executive producer. And I posted in my Facebook group, I'm going to be covering this case. I'm going to be interviewing the producer. And 2 people wrote me and said, I actually know Jeffrey McDonald.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
He said, I am absolutely innocent of these charges. He's been in jail ever since. I think he is married someone. Some woman married him, despite the fact he's still behind bars. She's completely convinced of his innocence. So 2 people, one said he and I, like our families were best friends, and I spent my entire childhood like playing with him on trips and whatever. The other woman that came forward said, my father was the first military officer at the scene of the crime. So then I asked her, do you think I could interview him? And she said, well, I can absolutely ask. And then I was elated when she said he'd let me talk to him. So I interview him. Now, he was a military officer. I think at the time he was like 19 or 20, really young.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the house and he said, for whatever reason, he went to the back of the house first. And he remembered, he kind of walked me through walking into the house. The pregnant woman is deceased on the floor. It's a savage scene. And he walks in and the little girl, I think one of the girls was, they were killed too. The one girl, when he opened the door, her crib was in there, but her face was turned towards the door. And that was the first thing he saw when he opened the door. But he also said, well, once he left the military, he became a New York NYPD officer. And he said he had spent so many years feeling tremendous guilt because he was a 19-year-old kid and he thought, I probably somehow compromised the scene because I was an idiot and didn't really know. He was like so young.
He's military police. He's an MP, yeah.
And he felt terrible because it was a case that was talked about in media all the time. And you have this man claiming that he was innocent.
Yeah.
He said that like a gang came in and like they were like Charlie Manson apologists or something. And then they came in and like killed his wife and wrote in blood. Like it sounded absurd. And then I asked him, so do the people in your life know that you were the first officer? Because this is like a gigantic story, right?
Right.
He said this is going to be the first time that many of them have even heard it. And he said he had to go and testify at the trial.
I'm sure, yeah.
And he said, I'm sitting in this room waiting to go in, and I'm sitting amongst people that I hadn't seen since I was a military, like an MP. And I asked, like, did you guys talk to each other? And he said, no, what do you say? Anyway, the fact that he didn't talk about that, and there were so many people that would have known that he was the first person that walked into that crime scene is just crazy.
And the fact that he even continued to be like a law enforcement after that is pretty remarkable.
But imagine that you're you're in law enforcement and you're constantly playing back all the ways that we were never really going to get a clear answer on what happened in that case because there were MPs. But this happens so often in cases where you have unsophisticated people that walk into the crime scene first. And then there's this question. I mean, it is, something that the defense brings up often, that crime scenes are compromised and there's really no way you can
all the time
have definitive proof. So anyway, I know we just went on. So when it comes to Julie Mitchell, in 2025, a longtime person of interest, Michael Wayne Thomas, who was 54, died by suicide during a Zoom interview with Oklahoma City police in 2025. So in May, actually, as detectives questioned him about the case. Police and his attorney were present on the call. Authorities said he had been interviewed multiple times over the years, but the case itself remains unsolved. So Julie Mitchell was married to Teddy Dryden Mitchell, and he was the one who was involved in the illegal sports gambling operation. So we're already like, what's that about?
Right.
And then there's this person of interest, Michael Wayne Thomas, dies by suicide during a Zoom interview with the Oklahoma City police detectives questioning him about the case. So is it possible that one of these men is responsible, someone else, or they worked in conjunction with each other?
there's like probability that they probably worked in conjunction with each other. But my thought process would be like, if he took his own life, when you start questioning him about the case, like, I don't know. That's pretty, I mean, yes, there's circumstances where like maybe he was so depressed that he just did it. But then there's circumstances like where you're hiding something and you don't want people to know. I mean, it goes back to, I won't go off tangent too much, but the Long Island serial killer with Jimmy Bissett. When Rex got caught, he took his own life like a couple days or a week later. So you're like, where's that connection?
Yeah, but the same thing is like, did Jimmy actually kill any of the women, or?
No, you can participate in something and know someone did something. And when they start closing in, being like, we kind of like know what happened. You just need to now say that it happened. And then they're like, nope. And yeah, it's horrible, but that's what people do.
So you think in this case, Teddy and Michael probably there was culpability on both of their parts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just tapping in quickly. I mean, they're putting slot machines, so I see gambling in casinos and things like that. So I'm just assuming people that do that typically have the highs and the lows, and they also gamble money and they lose money and it ruins lives. And
yeah,
I also see money transfers with people. So I don't know.
Okay.
We all love a legendary comeback, and Degree Original Cool Rush is back and better than ever. Cool Rush isn't just a scent, it's a movement, a fan favorite that delivers bold, fresh vibes and all-day sweat protection. Whether you have a man that spends hours in the gym, heads into the office early, or is just trying to stay fresh on a long day, Cool Rush has their back. Head to your local Walmart or Target and grab Degree Cool Rush, the fan favorite scent from the world's #1 antiperspirant brand.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with his plight?
Aha!
Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Well, the other case is Sarah Spiers. This is out of Western Australia in 1996.
I do so many cases in Australia. It is bonkers.
Really?
Like, oh my God, the law enforcement there are amazing. Amazing. They're just like so, I mean, like, I had to prove myself with other cases, but like they're typically very open-minded.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
I do a lot of cases with them. They're like, any help we can get to close a case, they're like, we'll do. I mean, there's obviously, I'm sure, some officers that aren't like that, but the ones that I've been dealing with are super open-minded.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this is a case of a girl who was only 18 years old, Sarah Ellen Spiers. She disappeared in the early hours of January 27th, 1996. She was leaving Club Bayview in Claremont, which is in Perth.
Yep.
Calls a taxi at 2:06 a.m., but when it arrived minutes later, she's gone. Her body has never been found. Now, is it possible that her disappearance is part of the Claremont serial killings alongside the murders of Jane Rimmer in 1996 and Kiera Glennon in 1997? So there was a man, a former Telstra technician, who was convicted of murdering those two women, but he was not found guilty of Sarah's murder. The judge said it was more likely he killed Spiers, but not proven beyond reasonable doubt. So it could have been like they didn't have enough to prove it.
Right.
This man is serving a sentence with a minimum of 40 years.
Yeah.
But Sarah's case remains officially unsolved. So do you think that it's possible that this is part of those serial killings, or was it someone else? Because again, it's January 27th. It's 2:06 a.m. She leaves Club Bayview in Perth, calls a taxi, but it arrives minutes later and she is totally gone, never to be seen again. And there's been no body.
I do think that it's part of the serial killing, unfortunately. And what they're showing to me is they're putting canals in front of me saying like, it's kind of like if people know where certain canals are highly trafficked or not highly trafficked and where to put remains and stuff. Because it seems like her remains have never been found at all. So that's kind of like what they're showing to me. But yes, I do think that it's part of the serial killing. I think sometimes it's also hard to prove all that if it happened in 1996 and you're trying to prove it now. You talk about crime scenes being tampered, like evidence and, DNA gets tampered just from moving it from point A to point B if they're not careful. So there's so much stuff. But yes, I do think it's part of the serial killing.
The other thing that makes me think of is we discussed the yogurt shop murders because there was an HBO series about it. And there was, you said, well, there's an F name. It's an unusual name. One of the men was Forrest. Then there was an update about genetic genealogy used. They found like a bullet. And anyway, they connected to this one man. And my immediate reaction was, yes, but I don't think he was the only person involved. That was such a gruesome crime scene. There were 4 young girls. They were all assaulted, tortured, and then he tried to set whomever these people are, tried to set it the building on fire.
Right.
And it was a blaze. And then the firefighters were able to put it out. And that's when they came upon the girls' bodies. I still have trouble believing that one person could have committed that crime. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I personally just, I think a win's a win for law enforcement when they're able to do that. So that's a big win. But yeah, like I find it hard to believe that one person could do all of that. Yeah. If that makes sense.
And in that short period of time too.
Yeah, and especially from how you described it to me as being like very gruesome and stuff. To do things in addition to just the murder of it, also like horrible things. And it's very weird for me that it would be one person, but
yeah. There you go.
As always, Kate, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, please do not forget to follow all my social medias. It's Jonathan Mark Medium on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you have any cases that you want us to talk about, please leave a 5-star review and put it in the comments. We see it. We have a very long list that we're going to be covering. And also, if you or anyone in your family are affected by a case and need my help, please send an email to connectjonathanmark@gmail.com. All right, guys, I'll see you next week.